Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to our weekly well-being live recording here. As per usual, feel free to drop your comments in the chat. If you have any comments related to well-being and how we can tend to our full self, I always try to answer them either now or afterwards. But just bear with me as I answer them afterwards. My name is Emily Gibson. I am a trauma-informed practice and well-being educator and consultant. I help people tend to their whole self and learn what feels really nourishing for them. And I help folks also know how to create spaces and interactions that make people feel really safe to interact with them. That's the trauma-informed practice piece. But today, our live, we are talking about mindfulness. Now, I will be honest, when I first started off, actually, I was already a bit on my well-being journey. And, mindfulness is a word that we use a lot, we hear a lot. And it's even a word that, we use when we're talking about, be mindful about how we do such and such, be mindful about, how your tone comes across. So I sort of had this preconceived notion of what mindfulness is. I thought it was honestly a little bit about just like acting with intention. What was the particular care and intention that I was having? And certainly that could be a part of it. But what really clarified what mindfulness is for me is when I learned about how it interacts with our senses. So, mindfulness is our ability to be fully present in the moment, fully aware of the sensations in our body, our thoughts, our feelings. And it's not necessarily being overrun. We're not in a reactive state. We are present, we're aware. I know the room I'm in, I feel the chair I'm sitting on. We're fully in this moment. Our mind is not thinking about, what we're going to eat next week. It is here with us. And so still, when I learned that, I was like, okay, being fully present in the moment, what does that actually mean? And how am I actually doing that? And honestly, I think I was like, yeah, sure, I'm doing that. I'm working, I'm accomplishing things, I'm being productive. But then I was having these issues. I was having some physical health concerns come up. And my doctor and my naturopath at the time would always ask me, how's your stress level? And I'm like, I feel like it's fine. I feel like, I had a senior management role at a charity. We were doing really important work. I had a lot of responsibility. I felt like it was just, a normal stress level for someone in that role. And what my labs were coming back with and with the physical symptoms I was experiencing was that, oh, actually, you are quite stressed. Actually, your stress levels are sort of high. And so my naturopath was like, you got to try mindfulness. And I was like, what the heck is that? Like, what does that actually mean? And she was like, when you go for a walk, just feel your feet, notice your feet, bring your full attention to the sensation of your feet on the ground, in your shoe, whatever, as you walk. And I'm looking at her like she's got two heads. Like, this is what you're prescribing me right now? Sure. Well, I would love to extend the same invitation to you because maybe you are not in a level of high stress like I was. However, we can all benefit from a bit more mindfulness, a bit more peace and presence throughout our day. So the first practice I wanted to share with you is just that. It is when you go for a walk or when you get up from your desk and you walk to get a coffee or go to the bathroom, whatever, just notice the sensation of your feet hitting the ground. Or even right now when we're sitting here, just bring your total awareness to your feet. And it's weird. But what do you notice when you're bringing your total awareness to your feet? I'm not stressed. I'm not anxious. I'm not worried. I'm not depressed. For me, I'm fully present in that moment because my total attention is on my feet and nothing else exists. Now, I'm obviously aware of my surroundings. But that is the power when we repeatedly practice mindfulness. We are coming back into the present moment. We are returning our body and mind into more coherence. We are hopefully stopping a little bit of feelings of anxiety, worry, depression. Now, certainly mindfulness is not always a be all end all solution for those who experience anxiety and worry and depression. There are sometimes other interventions that we have to do to support that, and that is okay. But the thing that I noticed mindfulness made a big shift for me is that I didn't actually know what it looked like to be fully in the present moment in my body. I knew how to be, processing a million miles a minute up in my brain and solving problems and um, mitigating risks and thinking about what all my staff needed and what I was going to have for dinner. And was it raining? Was my hair going to get wrecked? And maybe we should make this really big, lofty goal for work. It was always happening, it was always going. And mindfulness helped me bring myself back into my body. And in doing that, there were a couple of cool benefits. One, it was helping to more regularly engage my parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. So it was helping stop the stress hormones from just coursing through my body because I was running on stress hormones for sure. I didn't need to be running on them all the time. And so it's training my body to come back to that homeostasis, come back to that feeling of feeling calm and present in the moment. But the other really cool thing it was doing too is it was helping me strengthen my mind-body connection. So what this meant is that I went from when someone asked me, "Oh, where do you feel that feeling in your body?" to be like, "You're supposed to feel feelings in your body," to be like, "Oh, yeah, I am feeling X." Or typically, actually, what I do more these days is I notice a sensation in my body and then I tap into that and ask it what it is trying to tell me, what it is, what feeling is associated with it. So it provided this opportunity of coherence for me, which I'm so grateful for because that really helped me tap more into my intuitive gifts. It helped me feel more peace and presence and joy and ease. And it helped me get answers more about things I was experiencing. And it helped me realize that our body speaks to us sometimes through tension, and when we ask that tension what it is trying to tell us, then it can reduce that tension. So I was also having less pain in my body. Now, this might not always be the case for everyone. We are all very different, and that is so beautiful. But those were some of the things that really helped me. It also helps us develop stronger connections in our brain between our prefrontal cortex. So if we think really simply, our thinking brain and our limbic system and our brain stem, which is our emotion brain, our survival brain. And so when we have stronger connections between those parts of the brain, our thinking brain is able to better assess that what our amygdala initially thought was a threat to our life was actually just burnt toast. The house is fortunately not on fire. And so then Our prefrontal cortex sends a message to our amygdala to stop our stress hormones from firing, which is beautiful. That is what we want. I talk a lot more about this in my Welcome to Wellbeing workshop, which is on demand, and in my Intro to Trauma Informed Practice webinar. And of course, we dive really deep into it in my Decolonized Trauma Informed Practice certificate for professionals, if you're wanting to learn a little bit more about that. So my mindfulness journey, as I said, started out with feel your feet on the ground. But what really helped illuminate what was mindfulness to me is when I was like, okay, this is about engaging our senses. So the last practice I want to share with you is about engaging our senses. So actually there's two. If you want to build on the feel your feet on the ground when you walk, I'm recording this right now in June. I'm on the west coast of so-called Canada. It is unseasonably warm and all the spring flowers are just flourishing. So last night I went for my walk around the neighborhood and I started out noticing my feet on the ground, and then I just fully tuned into what I was hearing. I put my total attention on the sounds I was hearing around me, the rustle of the leaves through the wind, the sounds of the birds, the little kids playing around me, the lawnmowers going in the background. And I just had my total attention on what I could hear. And then I went, what could I smell? I could smell the beautiful flowers, could smell the freshly cut grass. I could smell just like the warmth in the air. And then I turned my attention to what I could feel. So it was a warm, breezy evening, and I could feel like I was walking through hot air. And I just brought my total awareness to that sensation. And then I brought my awareness to what I can smell. So just on my walk, what are the smells coming up for me? I think I might have done smell twice. However, that is another way that we can build on the feeling our feet on the ground and engaging our senses. So this activity I am going to walk us through now is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you can do it to yourself. You can use it with kids. You can, if you're working with someone or interacting with someone who has become really activated, their nervous system has become on high alert and they're feeling a bit dysregulated, feeling a bit, chaotic, activated inside, you could say, hey, do you want to do this mindfulness activity with me? And so what it is I'm going to invite us to first look, what are 5 things we can see? 5 things we can see. So right now I can see my microphone. I can see the leaves outside. I can see my glass of water. I can see my pen, and I can see my lamp. 5 things we can see. 4 things we can touch. So I can touch my mouse. Notice that sensation. My mouse pad. Sensation of my pants. And then also sensation of the leaves of my plant beside me. And then there is 4 things we can hear. 3 things we can hear. So I can hear there are window washers next door. I can hear the road noise. And I can also hear a lawnmower going in the background. 2 things we can smell. I can smell, I have my candle beside me and also freshly done laundry. And then 1 thing we can taste. I can taste, I had a a little piece of cake after lunch. I can taste that a little bit in my mouth. Now notice how you might feel. Was your mind going like crazy throughout that? Does your body maybe feel a bit stiller? Do you notice yourself being, for that moment at least, in the present moment? That's the gift of mindfulness. It can provide us a sense of peace. We can do that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise at any time. We can do it at our desk, driving to work, when we're having an argument with someone, when you're working with a patient face to face, and no one's going to know except you. And these little moments that we can do, these gifts that we can give ourselves throughout the day, are going to add up. And I'm really curious what they add up and what the impacts are that you feel from them. If you would like to learn a little bit more about mindfulness, I do invite you to join my Lifesaver series. It is for the busy professional. So if you have time to wash your hands throughout the day, you have time for this series, I promise you. And what it is I offer you it's 5 days. I offer you a 30-minute recorded masterclass on mindfulness. This is what is it, how it can help me. This is not even a requirement to watch. This is just if you're interested in that. And then over 5 days, I send you a short video recorded mindfulness practice for you to try out during your day. And again, this is going to fit in seamlessly throughout your day. So it's, when you're walking to the kitchen to get some food, when you're driving to work, when you're washing your hands, it will all fit in during your day. I'm not asking you to take more time to do something else. And then a bonus I include with it is a live 30-minute abundance activation so that we can learn how to apply the principles of mindfulness to manifesting. And honestly, I've been trialing that out since the beginning of 2026, and it has been making some ripples in my life. So I'm really excited to share some of those practices. It is fairly self-directed. The only live is the abundance activation, and that's also recorded if you can't make it. And it's all just for $44 Canadian. So this is a very small investment gift to yourself, which is a big gift for yourself. And I just invite you to come join the Lifesaver series. So let me know if you have any more questions about your well-being or what you would like next week's well-being live topic to be. But I hope you are all taking such good care.